Hey, Black Lions and Black Lion families, hot off the press, General Order number 6. For those of you that are on social media, you may have already seen it posted to some of the Fort Benning pages. So I just want to highlight a couple things real quick, and then just kind of talk about some expectations of all of our soldiers and families as we move on to General Order number 6. So first things first, some of the good news. For our outdoor ceremonies and organized events, we're able to get back at some of those things as long as we're maintaining that good physical distancing of 6 feet or more. And then if that can't be maintained, we're wearing masks. And probably to be safe, for any outdoor ceremonies, we'll probably be in mask for the predominance of those. So we're back to platoon and company formations as long as we're doing the right thing, to include starting at PT, to include closeout formations at the end of the week. And then indoor ceremonies and organized events, up to 25 people. We can go above that if we seek Colonel Cushing's approval, but we can get back after some of our indoor ceremonies and events as well. Again, as long as we are implementing social distancing and wearing masks. All right, so let's get to some of the other real good news. So indoor restaurants, okay, indoor dining, that is back on, all right, but there's an if there, okay? It's not just all restaurants are good, right? You can eat indoors at a restaurant if that restaurant is implementing physical distancing between tables, right? So a minimum of 6 feet between tables, and the wait staff are wearing masks, okay? So you've probably seen some signs up downtown that say, hey, we're not following the mayor's mask guidance, and that's okay because that was allowed by the mayor. But if there's a restaurant that you go into and you see that the wait staff is not wearing masks and they've got tables that are within 6 feet of each other, right? That does not meet the intent of General Order number 6. So it's not just all indoor restaurants are back on. There's an if in there too, okay? Bars are still off limits, and that includes anything that makes greater than 50% of its sales from alcohol. So things like Outlaws, the Martini Bar, the Hooch, those types of things, right? They're not making greater than 50% of their sales off of food, right? So anything that has greater than 50% on alcohol is still off limits, right? That's how we define the bar. Local gyms are on as well if the employees are wearing masks and they're implementing some social distancing procedures inside those gyms. Outdoor activities, hey, sports are back on. No limitations now on the number of folks that can participate. So sports are back on. It's good news, obviously, for a lot of kids out there too. And then any other indoor activities are permitted if it's in accordance with federal, state, and local guidelines, and the participants in that indoor activity are maintaining proper social distancing and wearing a face mask, right? So that's things like church, going to the movies, some of the trampoline parks and those types of things that are indoors. That's all allowed as well. And then here's some of the really good news. There's no more mileage limitation on leave. Okay, so no more mileage limitation on leave, which for us means that now we don't necessarily have to go to 3rd Infantry Division to approve anything outside of 150 and 250. There's going to be some more stipulations on there, so that's GO6, right? But there's still some DoD regulations in terms of if you're traveling to a high-risk area such as Florida, North Dakota, South Dakota, Atlanta, Houston, those types of things. There's a requirement from the DoD that we quarantine on the backside of that. So there will still be some limitations on going to some of those high-risk areas. So a lot of good news today in terms of General Order number 6. But the last thing I want to finish with is, hey, this is not GO6, in perpetuity, right? We very likely could go back to a more restricted posture, right? If we see cases go up on Fort Benning, cases go up in our local community, or our hospitals have the inability to continue to treat folks, right? So this is a conditions-based general order. And the way that we get to maintain these conditions is simply by doing the right thing, okay? We should be well past the habit phase, and we should be well into the lifestyle change. And I know some people, including myself, still make that mistake. You walk outside and you forgot your mask back inside or whatever else, right? But this is completely an individual behavior and an individual responsibility. Now, could you get COVID still doing the right thing? Sure, right? But for the most part, we need to do our part in cutting down the risk that anybody would contract it. And that's what's gonna allow us and allow the CG here to continue to reduce some of those restrictions and eventually getting back to lowering the health protection conditions here on Fort Benning, which would then allow the schools to open back up. So we're on our way. Numbers are trending in the right direction, both on Fort Benning and in most of our local community. But we absolutely need to do our part as Black Lions to make sure that we're stopping the spread. So have a great day. Hunt with the Pack.